What's good, people? Welcome back to the channel. Culture Punch Studios, Kid Culture here. Thank you for returning. As always, if you guys enjoy my content, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications if you guys want to get notified whenever we release a new video. In today's video, we're going to be doing a reaction video, okay? We reacted in the past on this channel, and I want to go ahead and react on this. I've discussed this on my podcast before, so this is something I've kind of gotten in depth with of what I believe when it comes to this topic or this subject, and kind of where we stand in society with how we look at things like this. As you guys, I'm sure, can see from the title, we're going to be reacting to a couple of videos that I found in regards to feminism and what it's doing to our society, I guess. And this isn't going to be coming from men. It's going to be coming from women. I felt like it would be an unfair fight if it's going to be coming from men and not women. So let's go ahead and get into it.
What percent of men actually get laid? The other guys face consequences for their decisions. Like, that's the whole point, is like,
Sure.
like men, when they make a bad decision, they always have a consequence. Women don't. And that's why women are worse, because one gender has consequences, one doesn't. And to say it's like equal, I just think isn't like fair, because like men, when they make a bad decision, they have the consequence immediately, where women don't. We're bailed out of everything.
How are we bailed out of everything?
Okay. Every bad decision that you make, you're bailed out of. If you want to sleep around, there's birth control. If you get pregnant, you don't want to keep it, there's an abortion. If you get pregnant and you want to get married to the guy and leave and take half, you can do that. And you can do it under the guise of being happy. And, you know, and society will accept you, and some simp will probably marry you after. And then on top of that, if you're bad with your money, what are you going to do? You're going to go to a women's shelter, or the government will pay you. If you leave and you're a single mother and you're the 5th baby mama or whatever, you can also go to the government. They'll pay you.
All right, so to that, I'll say this. Hearing that, one example comes to mind. And this isn't gender specific, but I'm sure if you look up the statistics on this, it's going to be more geared towards female accusers than male accusers. But when we're talking about assault, sexual assault, I feel as though it is very easy for a woman to make these false allegations and accusations towards someone that they've been assaulted, and there is no consequence if it turns out to be a lie, or if it turns out to be made up, and if it never happened. There's no consequence for the individual that's accusing another individual. Again, this could happen on both ends, but I'm sure if you look up the statistics, it's going to be more women that accuse men. So I feel like that is one prime example of there's no consequence. I want you guys to dissect what she said here. What is she saying that's not facts, right? This is coming from a female, and she understands that there's a double standard when it comes to consequences. She also understands that there is more outlets to help out females in certain situations here in the United States. For example, you can get a divorce and take half the money. It could be your fault, you're going to take half the money. The way the court system works is it's not normally taken case by case, as I've always said that it should be. It seems that there's a general consensus of women need the extra money, or for whatever reason, or they need to be the ones that get the custody. They need to get the split on their end. No, nothing. There's no alimony on the male side. You rarely see that where women are paying men or their ex-husband alimony. It's usually the other way around. So those are just advantages that some females have. When a woman says there is no, let me say this, when a woman says it's structured to benefit women more, and you have other women arguing that, that's the poison in today's society that says that a woman cannot, I don't want to say second to a man, because that doesn't describe what I'm trying to say. But women, we all have roles, and feminism, modern day feminism, is out there telling women that it's not okay to be a stay-at-home mom. You need to have a degree, you need to make your own money. And some women have strived to be stay-at-home moms. That's what they want to do. Their ultimate goal in life was to have children. And then there's people that's going to tell them that having children isn't a goal, or that's a terrible goal, because you need to set yourself higher standards. It's a man's world, and we got to make sure we're carving our way in it. No, some women are happy with roles of the past of previous women. I mean, Candace Owens got so much attention for this because she's a smart person, and you know, now she has her own show on the Daily Wire and all this stuff, but she was staying at home, and she felt there was nothing wrong with that, but yet she was getting so much backlash for that. And I just think that's so dumb, that you're going to attack someone for their personal choices just because your agenda is to roll with the punches with modern day feminism. Not everyone has that same ideology. And that's the problem that we're having today, is if someone disagrees with the ideology that you have, or someone doesn't see it from your scope, you almost force it down their throat to try to convince them. And then you come down on them for not, changing their mind or not seeing it from your point of view. And then you bash these women. Women are supposed to be together, and since I've been in existence, since I can remember, women have always been super catty and backstabbing and all these things. And I feel for a lot of women, because I feel that there's not a lot of genuine relationships out there, and that's hard. That's hard for women, and that they have to deal with. We don't really talk about those things, because in today's day and age, where, oh yeah, it's all about the woman, it's all about the, but is it really? Are women really standing up for other women? Are they only standing up for the women that agree with their views? See what I'm saying?
If you say that it's very masculine to just you know, give a very a fact,
Yeah.
and then say it's feminine to be empathetic, you can you know, kindly say to somebody the truth. I've done it so many times.
I think there's a
difference.
ugly.
No, I'm talking about like
there's being truthful,
if their
but
characters are.
So the ugly, okay, ugly came up right from the get-go. Ugly came up right from the get-go. This video, as you guys can see, Lawyer gives modern women the greatest advice. Ugly, weight, looks, always is the go-to. And that is a society problem. Yeah, we're poisoned to it. We're conditioned to it. Everything I've ever seen in magazines since I was a kid for women has been, you have to look like this. These models, this, and that, A, B, C, D. So there's a standard that's set. And then in today's world, I feel it's even worse, because now the outlets for that is even greater. Before, you could see these things at Walgreens, at Walmart, in the magazines. You could avoid those things. But in today's day and age, whenever you're in Instagram, Facebook, or any kind of social media platform, everything is geared towards you. I understand that they try to personalize your ads, but I'm not a woman. But I want to say that if there's any women that are on Instagram, I'm sure that there's personal ads, or there's personal reviews, or whatever things are coming up that are makeup tutorials, or that are this, that, fitness, that, this, that. So it's more of a problem now for women, I feel, and they have more of it shoved down their throat. And it's harder for me, in my opinion, for women to live in today's day and age, because of all the pressure they're under for that. So the fact that their go-to was this just shows the conditioning that society has brought us to, oh, what do you mean when you're saying, are you ugly? Are you talking about ugly? And that's the go-to, that and weight. Let's see where this goes.
Ugly? If they are
But
overweight,
we're not asking about character here.
Look straight at your face.
I know, but
You see that? And she said, all right, let's talk about character, ugly character. And they said, no, we're not talking about character. We're talking about their face. She's breaking it down like this lawyer saying, there's different, she's not blatantly say it, but based off her actions, she's saying there are different things to being that make you ugly, or things that make you beautiful. I'm going to talk about your character. If your character is ugly, then, and they cut her off immediately. They're like, no, we're not talking about character. We're talking about face. Let's talk about the outer beauty. Now, it's no lie that you have to be physically attracted to someone in order for you to eventually want to go and speak to them, or eventually want to, start a conversation, a relationship, or whatever. So let's not remove that factor. We're not going to contradict, and we're not going to do that. We're not going to play that card. But it's funny, and I think it's ironic that when she wants to talk about all aspects of what makes someone beautiful, they immediately revert to the face, the exterior, nothing to do with the interior, exterior. And that's the problem. See what I'm saying? Like,
okay, if we're talking about weight, I did have a friend who's having difficulty having a child, and I told her it's because you're fat. And I'm her closest friend, and she took it, and because of I'm not just some stranger like saying, yeah, you're fine, yeah, go girl and stuff. I apologize, but I told her, no, it's because you're fat. And you have to take responsibility. I, as a friend, I'm not going to sit here. Like, I have my own life and my time. I'm giving it to you. If you're going to sit there telling me the same circular argument, that's actually disrespectful to me. If you say that...
So she made a really good point here. And it's funny because I can relate to this in my life. I have this conversation with a buddy of mine, and it's not so much the same where, oh, you're fat, but it could be a relationship thing, or it could be about mental health. She's saying she has a close friend, and she tells that friend, you're having trouble having a baby because you're overweight, you're fat. I wish the camera would have been able to pan to the other women. I would have loved to see their faces when she said that. I feel as though, as a friend, if you want to call yourself a friend to someone, or someone calls you a friend, you have not an obligation, but a responsibility to be honest with them. Friendship is built on trust and honesty, correct? Could you guys agree on that? So if someone comes to you and asks you a question, there's a time to pump someone up and hype someone up, but there's also time to be real. When everyone in their circle is just the guys that are the hype men, but there's no honesty, this person is going to get a false sense of reality. And that might not be the best pill for them, is they may need that side of friendship where it's honesty. So with a good friend of mine, I tell him how I feel about his relationship and how I feel about certain things in his life. And I've told him, and this is recent what I told him, I've said, look, I feel bad, man. I feel bad because I feel like I'm always grilling you, and I don't want you to feel like I'm just kind of picking on you. But I do feel like you're in a bad relationship. And because you're in that relationship, I feel the need to let you know the things that I see, the things that I know you to be when you're single, and the things I know you to be when you're back in the same relationship that you've tried in the past and didn't work. So I've been honest with him, and I've been genuine. So I think because he reads the genuineness, you can be, like she was saying, you can tell someone something and be genuine. It doesn't have to be this, oh, it's disingenuous. You're being genuine with it. And I told him, I don't want you to feel like I'm picking on you. And I joke with him, and I said, but you mess up a lot. But he gets that I'm joking. But I tell him, I said, look, man, this is just the things that I see, and I feel like these are the things that you're giving up, and these are the things that you need for yourself. So in discussing like mental health, especially gym work, going to the gym helps you out with your mental health. Your mental health. It helps you get a lot of your stress out and things of that nature. But when you jump in a relationship, there's an argument whenever you want to go do those things. And I don't feel like that's right. Whenever there's an outlet for someone, for anyone, to let out a lot of what is built up inside, whether that's stress or anxiety, in a healthy manner, and there's an activity that can benefit you health-wise, why would that be an argument, or should that come up as an argument? But it does. And so it's just another example. So I feel, again, as a friend, my responsibility is to be honest with him and tell him what I see from the outside. And sometimes it's hard. But if you come genuine, and in this case, when I told him, like, I don't want to feel like I'm always picking on you. Let me know if I'm too much, but I just feel like you call me your friend, and it's my responsibility to be honest with you. And he's always told me, and I really appreciate that. You are my best friend because of that.
I think I'm her best friend. She's not my best friend.
You're the only person that I feel is honest with me in that sense. You'll just lay it on me. That's necessary at times.
It's very masculine to just give a fact.
Yeah.
And then say it's feminine to be empathetic. You can.
Okay, that was the end of that video, but it's true. I mean, she hits on a lot of things, and there's a lot of people out there that almost look down upon being honest, like, oh, you said the F word, I can't believe you called them fat. But she even apologized in the video and said sorry when she's like, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, you go grow with your best, because there are examples where being overweight is unhealthy. There's a message to send out to be happy within your own body, and then there's Lizzo's message that says being overweight is healthy. Those are not the same. That's not healthy. But when someone comes out and says that, oh, they're talking bad about feminists, and they're talking bad about women, and they're talking bad about, they're bringing women down as they've always had. No, but let's live in reality. Let's frame that and live in reality. All right, you guys, last one. Ready?
Do you believe there is a gender war?
A gender war? Yeah. Absolutely. Feminism is killing this country.
Can you be more specific?
Feminism has taught us to hate men and to fear men because capital profits off of my fear as a woman. If I'm afraid of men, they can make a profit off of that. There's a gender war because men are the underdogs right now. Men are the ones being told you're feared, you're wrong, everything you do is wrong, go make money, don't show emotion, BBB. Women are making a rise to the top. We've over-feminized so much and included women so much, which is great. But we don't have to tear men down to include women.
So why is there so much talk about male?
We don't have to tear men down to include women. So she is all for women climbing to the top, but she also understands the double standard of how men are told to do this, do that, and then looked bad upon for doing those things. Meanwhile, women are climbing to the top while pushing down men, while bringing down men. And we can live in a society where both coexist. We can live in a society with equality. We don't have to feel the need in order to badmouth someone in order to make ourselves look better. And that's just like schoolyard stuff. You take that in anywhere, middle school, high school, where you badmouth someone to make yourself look better, or where you over-exaggerate something or a story to make yourself look as the hero or something, right? In this case, women will badmouth men in order to get to the top. And I understand that men have been doing this for years with not just women, but men as well. Those kind of behaviors are not something that I'm condoning or I'm saying is acceptable. But my point is that if we're trying to look for change and we're trying to look for a different way and we're trying to be very progressive, why are we going to continue to exercise and practice the same tactics that we've done in the past that we're trying to get away from? Men are known for doing these things, and they're looked bad upon for doing them. So why now, when the shoe's on the other foot, are women now playing that card that they tried so hard to get away from and avoid and everything? But they hated it, but yet now they're playing that card because they're in a position of power to do that. It's not as easy to what is it? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Now that the shoe's on the other foot, you can now make the decision to either do the same as men have been doing, that you have been talking bad about for years and supposedly been trying to change, Or you can do the exact same thing because you've seen it work for years. And in her case, she's saying what I see as well is that women are bringing men down in order to climb to the top. So you're using the same tactics and you're doing the same thing now that you have the same tools to get to the top, to bash people. And if we're looking for change, wasn't that the original message? Are we really looking for change, or are we just looking for women to come up? That's where the double standard and that's where the contradiction and all these little things exist. It's because there's no consistency.
So why is there so much talk about male privilege?
Because for a long time there was male privilege, and now the script is flipped.
What I
Now
was saying.
women are the ones with privilege, but no one's ready to hear that.
That's what I was
But
saying.
why are we still talking about male privilege?
Because no one's ready for it. We're not ready to make that change. We're seeing more women in films, more women in power.
So I don't know what she means by we're not ready for that change with male privilege. I don't know what she means we're not ready for that change. I don't know what that world would look like if the narrative was now that there's women privilege, especially when there's been so much work done to become equal and create equality for women. And in certain cases, they're above men. I don't know what that world would look like, but it's interesting that she mentioned that. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure what she meant by that. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Again, this is reaction, so there's no pre-planned on anything. I'm trying to wrap my head around it, and it's an interesting concept. It's an interesting thought to entertain, is if the roles were completely flipped and there was no longer the narrative that men are privileged, but now women are privileged. And even though we know that there's a double standard, even though that we know that there's, as the first video said, laws and things in place to benefit women and a justice system to benefit women, we are still not ready to say that there is women privilege out there. It's crazy, man. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with being traditional in the sense of wanting to stay at home and raise the kids, because ultimately the two of you, husband and wife, you guys come together and you guys have an aligned way of how you want to raise your kids. So who else is going to raise them like you guys want to? Can you really build that trust with someone else that they're doing exactly what you would do, exactly raising them how you would want to be raised? No, that's the sacrifice you have to make in order to get that help. So why is it looked down upon when me and my lady will have a conversation on how we want our kids to be raised, and she's staying at home to put that plan in motion? That was what we agreed upon. That was a co-decision made, and who better than for her to do it? And if she was the breadwinner, what's wrong with men staying at home and doing the same thing? Again, it doesn't matter about male and female. It's just about you two coming together, having a goal, and then going forward with that goal. And if one of you guys has to stay home to do that, why should that person be looked down upon? It's weird, man, that we live in this world now, because all these statistics show that our grandparents, our great-grandparents were much more happier then with the roles that they had as women, with the less rights that they had. They couldn't vote. They couldn't do any of this stuff. They couldn't really work. And they were happier then than women are now. It's the same thing when you have too many options. We live in a society where there's too many options. And when there's too many options, there's too much room for error. And there's also a lot of room for for bashing on the things that we decide. This nation isn't united. We know that for a fact. There's left, there's right. There's people who are on one side of the spectrum when it comes to, like, example, abortion, and there's people that are on the other side of the spectrum when it comes to abortion. There's no in between. So it's no secret that we're not aligned right now. That's not the issue. The issue is that we lost the ability of freedom of speech. Before it was allowed, we were allowed to have different opinions and coexist and move forward as that. But now, if you don't agree, you're the enemy. And that's just the world that we live in now. It's completely split down the middle, and there's no in between, and it sucks that we're like that. It sucks that we're at that place. So if you know someone or you work with someone that has different views than you and you kind of shun them out of your life, try to do one positive thing and maybe trying to build that relationship with them or trying to regain that relationship with them, and try to make a change one person at a time. They're allowed to have their own beliefs. Don't let that stop you from becoming someone's friend. Unless it completely does not align with your morals, your way of being and everything, then obviously not. But if it's a political thing and you guys can coexist, try to make that relationship work. I think it's going to benefit both of you guys. So as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Culture Punch Studios here. Check out the podcast. I just released a new episode, Culture Punch Podcast, on any platform you guys listen to. Make sure you guys give us a rating, because that definitely helps us out. And I appreciate every single one of you guys that tune into the podcast or that tune into this YouTube channel. So thank you for that. And as always, we'll see you next time. Peace.